How's it going, everybody? Welcome to episode 2 of Practice Like a Pro. So in episode 1, we talked about practice with a purpose, and we talked about goal setting. If you didn't watch that one, go check that out. Today, episode 2, we're going to talk about building good habits and developing a good intention in our practicing and our playing. Alright, I wanted to start this episode off talking about intent. So when we're practicing, when we're playing, whenever we're doing anything involved with golf, we want to have a strong, good intent and know exactly what we want to accomplish. This kind of goes back to goal setting, which we talked about in episode 1, but basically every time we step out onto the golf course, every time we step onto the putting green, onto the driving range, wherever we are, we want to make sure that our intent is getting better and that we have a certain plan in place in order to accomplish that. So one of the big things I see a lot of golfers do is they'll go out with a certain plan, a certain intention, but they won't really focus on that and execute on that. So we'll see golfers go to the range and they're saying, okay, I'm working on my ball striking today. And you ask them, okay, so what are you doing to work on that? And they're like, I'm hitting balls. It's like, that's not really a good answer there. Anybody can just go out and hit balls and say they're working on something, but to actively have a good intention of improving, we have to have a certain way that we're trying to improve a skill, a certain drill that we're doing, a certain practice routine we're doing, something that we can specifically lay out and define as how we are trying to improve a skill. So with that last example we used of ball striking, instead of just going to the range and hitting balls and say that we're working on ball striking, we can actually actively work on our ball striking with a drill, kind of like this one I've set up, instead of just hitting golf balls and not really having any way to show our results. So this drill, some people just call it the towel drill. Basically what I've done is I've put this towel about half a foot behind the golf ball, and all we're going to do is we're going to try to hit the golf ball and take a divot, hit the ground without hitting the towel. Now if we come in too shallow, we're going to clip the towel and we're not going to see the results we want. And if we come in too steep, we're not going to hit the towel, but we're not going to make good contact with the ball. And so we're looking for something right in the middle, but this is usually used for people who come in too shallow. They either don't take a divot or they take a divot too far behind the ball and chunk it. So this is a great way to promote a steeper angle of approach into the golf ball, really helping us compress that golf ball more and take a nice, stronger divot. Okay, so we have the drill set up here. We're going to put the ball right where it usually would be in our stance. And we're going to treat this exactly like a normal golf shot. The only difference is our only intention here is to not hit this towel and to have this steeper angle of approach, hitting the ball with good contact, and if we were on grass, we would be taking a divot. But for this, we're really just feeling for that better contact and that interaction with the turf after we hit the golf ball. So we're going to go ahead and set up. We're going to go through our normal pre-shot routine, just like a normal golf shot, and then just execute. And as you can see there, we accomplished our goal. We didn't hit the towel. We came in steep. We hit the golf ball and we hit the turf after the ball, which is exactly what we were looking for. Now, in a normal scenario on the range, if you're practicing this, you can always make this drill harder or easier depending on what you need in your golf swing. If you're coming in very shallow, you might need to move the towel back a little bit. If you're already coming in just a little too shallow and you just want to get a little steeper, you might move the towel up a little closer and really promote a strong descent into the golf ball. So now that we've talked about intent, the next thing we're going to talk about is building good habits. So just to recap, intent, we always want to be focused on improvement. If we're on the range, on the putting green, on the course, we always have that goal in mind. We always have something that we're working on. If we're on the course, our intent may just be to play golf, to shoot a good score. And in that case, instead of working on something and having that swing thought in your mind, maybe your intent is just to play without a swing thought. Maybe your intent is, I'm not going to focus on mechanics today. I'm not going to focus on feel. I'm just going to go out and play my game and just put up a good score. And that's fine. We don't always have to have something that we're specifically working on mechanically. It doesn't always have to be physical. It can be mental as well. And we just don't really have to always have that one thing we're really driving home, really focusing on. We can have those days where all we want to do is play our game without any stress, without any anxiety, without any swing thoughts. We just want to go out and swing, and that's completely fine. Our intent just has to be something very clear, and we have to have a way of seeing that. So now we're going to talk about building good habits. So pros, when they go out to practice and play, have certain things that most, if not all of them do, that is second nature to them. It's already built into their habits. That really helps them to see results that they like. That helps them to maybe stay focused, maybe helps them quantify results, maybe it helps them see certain results, certain things that amateurs sometimes overlook that can cause some variance and make it harder for consistent, repeatable results. So the big thing that comes to mind when we talk about habits is pre and post shot routines. So most golfers have a pre-shot routine. It may be as simple as they see their golf ball, they'll get a distance, they'll pick a club, they'll take their practice swing, and they'll go up and they'll hit their golf ball. This is good, but some things that amateurs do, they either do it inconsistently in a pre-shot routine, or they might do some things incorrectly, or they might not do some things enough. Anyways, I'm going to walk you through my pre-shot routine and some of the things that you can be thinking about, and some of the things that might help you develop a stronger habit, a stronger routine, and really help make that a habit that you don't even have to think about when you get up to your ball. So when I'm playing around a golf and I get up to wherever my ball is, the first thing I do kind of subconsciously is I assess the lie. So hopefully we're in the fairway, hopefully we have a nice flat lie, but that's going to be the first thing I look at. That's going to determine my club selection. It's going to determine, before I even get a number, I know which clubs I can get on this golf ball. So for instance, if we're in a flat fairway lie, we know that we can pretty much pick whatever club that we might need for the situation. Now, if we have a shot where we're up against something like this, I know that there's not a whole lot I can do from here. Same thing with if we're in front of a really tall object, like the lip of a bunker. I know that if there's something that goes up about a foot high right in front of my golf ball, there's a good chance I'm not going to be able to get that shot up in the air quick enough to get it over that. So I'm going to have to assess different options for that situation. After assessing my lie, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to determine a target. So this I'm going to have 2 steps for doing. So I'm going to pick an actual physical area that I want to land this golf ball. It could be, the back right edge of the green. It could be, a random spot on the fairway. I'm going to pick one spot that I can see, that I can plan out my shot for, and I'm going to keep that in mind and pick either a spot in the distance that lines up with that I can see, or I might pick an intermediate target. Most of the times I do both. So for a ball that's sitting right here, we'll use this little leaf here. So this leaf, let's say it's sitting right here, that might be my intermediate target. And if I'm looking at a backdrop of a golf hole, I'll pick a tree, I'll pick something in the distance that I'm going to aim at. I'm going to get behind my golf ball, and I'm going to find an intermediate target that lines up with that. And those are going to be kind of some of the things I'm looking at when I'm planning out my shot. So now I know what direction I want to hit the golf ball, and I know kind of what lie I'm dealing with. So I need to find out how far I want to hit the golf ball. So this is where I usually get my number. I have my target picked out, and along these lines, my distance, my target, and my planning of the shot all kind of merges together in my mind. There's not really a step 1, 2, and 3 for this part. It's just kind of like I'll see the lie, I'll see what my route is to wherever my target is, I'll see how far I want to hit it. All this kind of happens almost simultaneously for me. So I'll have my number, I'll have my target, I'll know where I want to hit it, how far I want to hit it, and next is shot planning. So for shot planning, one of the big things is I know I'm not going to hit the ball dead straight. I'm never going to try to hit it dead straight. I'm always going to have a shot shape in mind, and usually that shot shape is going to be a fade for me. That's how I like to shape the golf ball, and that's what I'm good at shaping the golf ball to do. So I'm most likely going to hit a fade, and I'm going to pick my starting line and where I want to finish it. I've kind of picked where I want the ball to land as my finishing spot, and I might have my target line will be my starting line for that. So if I'm going to fade a golf ball into a green, I might have this as my intermediate target here. I might be starting the ball along this line, but I really wanted to finish about 5 or 10 yards right. So I'm not going to be taking something on directly. I'm going to be planning out what kind of shot I'm going to hit to the target that I have picked out. As I'm shot planning, it's important to know that I'm also thinking about where I can miss. So if I have a green that's tucked behind bunkers and water to the left, I know I absolutely cannot miss left. If I have a pin in the middle of the green, I have water and bunkers left, I'm probably going to aim at the pin as my starting line, and I know if I hit my fade, I'm going to be okay on the right side. I'm going to have a chip or a putt, and I won't be in any danger. I won't have any penalty strokes, but I'm absolutely going to make sure this ball does not go left. So far, what we've done is we've assessed the lie. We've picked our target where we want to land the golf ball. We know our distance. We know the shot shape we want to play. We have our target line for starting the golf ball on, and we have our target where we want to land the golf ball. And so now what's left to do is we have all this information in our head, and we need to make sure that we can turn this information from a mental thought to a physical feeling. So I'm going to step behind the golf ball, and I'm going to take a couple practice swings, very slow. I'm not trying to go for a club speed record here. These are very slow, and I'm thinking about my 1 or 2 swing thoughts that I'm going to have during this shot, and I'm thinking about everything that I'm going to try to do with this shot. Now, if I take you back to a previous video of mine, the batter's box technique, you'll know that all of this happens outside of our batter's box, away from the golf ball. This is where we do all our thinking. This is where we strategize for what shot we're going to hit. We're going to assess the wind. We're going to pick a target. We're going to have our distance in mind, our starting line, where we want to finish the golf ball. Everything that I'm talking about now is happening away from the golf ball. We haven't addressed the golf ball yet, so this is all going to happen back here, where we start thinking about kind of what shot we're going to play. We're thinking about kind of what we want to do with the club. We're going to remember to bring 1 or maybe 2 swing thoughts into the batter's box with us. But right now, we're just planning out the shot. We're kind of converting that mental thought of that little 5-yard cut from the pin to the right side of the green. We're converting that from that mental thought into the physical feeling of how we're going to get that ball to move left to right here. So now we've pretty much concluded the preparation for our shot. We have our distance, we've assessed our lie, we know what the wind's gonna do, we have our starting line, we have our shot shape, we have our target that we're going to try to land the ball at. We know everything that we're planning on happening with this shot. We've taken our practice swings, we have the right club in hand, we have converted our mental thought of hitting this shot into a physical feeling, and we're going to choose one feeling in this swing to bring with us into this golf shot. So now that we've done all that, we can now take one last look at the target from back here. We're going to look at where we want to start the ball, and we're going to go up and address the golf ball. We're going to use our intermediate target on the ground. That's going to help us to line up the club head, and it's going to line up our feet as well. This alignment stick isn't really perfectly aligned with how we want that shot to look, but we are going to address the golf ball. We know exactly what line we want to start it on. We know what club we want to hit. We know what the wind's going to do, our distance. Everything we've done to prepare for this shot is going to pay off now. So we're going to address the golf ball. We're going to get set in our stance. We're going to take one last look at the target, and we're going to execute. So this pretty much concludes what a pre-shot routine is. It's everything that goes into planning the shot. It's all the variables have been taken into account. We've strategized, we've planned out our shot. We know exactly what club we want to hit. We know how far it's going to go. We know exactly what we want to do. The next part is going to be the post-shot routine. So all the things I've discussed have been to plan out a repeatable, consistent pre-shot routine. You might think about other things. I think about different things. Every golfer has a different list of things they think about. Later on, I'll have a course management video where I kind of talk more into the specific strategy of what goes into how I plan out a golf shot. But this is kind of a general outline for planning out your pre-shot routine and getting something that you can make a habit of and that can become second nature before you end up addressing and hitting a golf ball. So now we're going to get into the post-shot routine. And all golfers have one of these as well, whether they realize it or not. and this can definitely hurt them if they are not very conscious about how they address the shot after it's happened. So the biggest thing we need to do is we need to watch this golf ball and we need to see exactly what happened. Now we're going to compare what happened in the actual shot to what we plan to happen for this shot. And this might look very similar, this might look very different, and we need to decide why the results did or did not look like the plan. So now we're going to talk about post-shot routines. So all golfers have one, whether you realize it or not. Subconsciously you have something that you do after the shot. Now it's up to us to determine if this is good or bad. So a lot of golfers, what they'll do is they'll watch the shot after they hit it, and then they will analyze the results. And they analyze the results, they say, let's use that example from earlier about a shot that I'm hitting into a green. The pin is in the middle of the green, we have water to the left, and nothing danger-wise to the right. So let's say I line up at the pin, just like we had planned, and I'm going to hit a little fade to the right side of the green where it's safe, and that way I give myself the biggest margin of error possible for this shot. And let's say I absolutely flag this golf ball. This golf ball is headed straight towards the pin, it drops in to about a foot, and I have a tap-in birdie. So I've seen golfers who will see something like this happen, and they will immediately celebrate. They'll be like, yes, I hit that so good, this is a perfect shot, I'm gonna have a nice birdie for the card, this is going great. And then on the other side, I see golfers who might get away with a shot, and the shot might end up not how they intended to process-wise, but results-wise, it was good, and they might say, my goodness, that sucked. Like, why am I out here? They might get total negativity. You might see them kind of be very upset with themselves. Let's say they chunk the golf ball, and it rolls all the way up onto the green. There are golfers who, if they hit it in the air and hit it to that spot, they're going to be happy. But because they chunked it, because they didn't hit it solid, they're not. So we need to find a way to look at our results and the process, kind of combine these, and to really analyze and see what happened in the actual execution of our shot and how that compares to the plan that we had in place. So the first step for this is to watch the shot. If we hit the golf ball, we just kind of like turn away and don't look at it, we've gained no information about anything. We don't know how we hit it, we don't know how it curved, we don't know anything about this golf shot. We only will see the golf ball, hopefully, if it's on dry land, and we'll know results-wise where it ended up. This is no help to us at all, and we need to make sure that no matter how you hit the golf ball, we're watching the shot and we're learning everything we can. So next, after we've watched the golf ball, we need to see how it compares to our plan. So if I hit one, if I'm trying to play a little cut and I hit it dead straight, I need to figure out, is it because of the wind? Did the wind hold it up? Did I shut down the club face and square it up? Was it a path thing? We need to figure out why what happened. And then from there, we're going to see what we can learn from this. So we want to try to analyze any patterns we have in our round to hopefully help us in the future with future shots in this round. So if I have played the first 3 holes and I step up to the tee and I put the tee down and I tee it up nice and high and I sky the golf ball straight up off the top of the face, chances are after 2 or 3 of those, I'm not going to tee it up as high. I'm going to say, okay, what do I know about a skied golf shot? I know that the club was lower than the golf ball, and the golf ball hit too high on the club face or too high on the club. So how can I fix this? The easiest way to fix this is to just tee it lower. So that's what I'm going to do in that situation. I'm going to try on the golf course to find the easiest, least invasive way to fix the results where I don't have to really change my swing or change my thought process at all. There are also times when this can be an issue with our strategy playing into the hole. So if I'm playing a hole and I shoot it and I see I have 200 yards, and I am thinking back to before my round, a couple days ago I was on the simulator and I hit the best 7-iron of my life, and I hit the 7-iron 200 yards. Now, hopefully, if you have this situation, you're not going to pull the 7-iron out of your bag, unless you consistently hit it that far. But Sometimes maybe you might think, okay, I'm hitting the clubs further. I'm going to pull this 7-iron. I hit it 200 yards earlier this week. I can hit this 200 yards. And maybe you come up short. Maybe everything you thought about with execution in terms of shot shape, in terms of how you were going to play this shot, everything happened perfectly and you came up short. Now, there's no reason to change the swing for this. There's nothing you did in the swing to make this ball go short of the green. This is on the strategy and the planning of the hole. So we need to know what our yardages are, and if we come up short, we need to know, is it an issue with club selection, wind, ball contact? There are plenty of things that can influence our golf shot. We have to pick the right one and diagnose it correctly. So putting this all together, what we're really going to focus on is pre-shot. We're going to focus on taking in as many variables as we can, planning out our golf shot, and trying to execute by converting our mental image of what's going to happen into a physical feeling and trying to bring that into the batter's box with us and hit the golf ball like we planned. There are plenty of different variables that go into this, and there are plenty of things you can think about and plan out in your shot. You're never going to have all the variables and all the pieces together. It's just not possible to perfectly plan out exactly where the ball is going to go. There's always a little bit of wind. It might catch a tree branch. You might catch an extra blade of grass in between your club and the ball. There's always something that you won't be planning for, and that's okay. We're going to learn to try to deal with any of the variables that come into play, and we're going to try to learn from those, and we're going to try to plan for those in the future. Then we have the post-shot routine, and this is also just as important as the pre-shot routine. Pre-shot, we're planning out everything, and we're trying to convert our mental image of what's going to happen into an actual golf shot that we perform. Post-shot, our main idea is to learn from whatever happened. We need to have an open mind and try to keep emotions out of it. We need to realize that not everything is going to go according to plan, and we just need to know what happened, why it happened, and how we can learn from it and play better in the future. Just like anything else in golf, the pre and post-shot routine is going to take practice before you can fully implement it and have it as a subconscious habit for every shot you hit. The best way we can practice this is going to the range. Now, a lot of people, they'll go to the range, and this will go back to intent. They'll just hit golf balls with no real goal of getting better that day. So if we want to practice pre and post-shot routine, we need to have a checklist with us. We need to have some way of making sure we go through all the steps, and we need to do this on every golf shot, treating it like every ball on the range is a shot on the golf course. So I might step out every shot. I might take a practice swing. I might think about playing different golf shots, and I might have a different kind of scenario in my head every time. But every time I want to make sure I'm going through every step in my checklist before I address the golf ball. And then after I address the golf ball, I'm going to make sure to watch the shot and then take everything into account in the post-shot routine. We're going to have a lot of variables to kind of analyze and to look at, but make sure we are not just looking at results. We need to think about ball contact. We need to think about, did it start on line? Did it go to the right target that we were going towards? We need to think about, did it go the distance we wanted to? Did we play the wind correctly? Did we strike the ball well? Everything that we think about in the pre-shot routine, we have a post-shot parallel to that. So if I'm thinking about hitting a certain shot shape, I want to see, did I start it on line and did it end up where I wanted it to end up? I'm going to think about playing the wind. Did I play the wind correctly? Did the wind push it more? Did the wind do something that I didn't think it was going to do? And I'm going to just kind of go through that same checklist with the pre-shot routine, but post-shot, I'm going to analyze everything that happened. Did I hit the ball solid? Did I hit the ball on the right line? Did the ball curve the right way? Did I play the wind correctly? Did I play it the right distance? Everything that we think about in the pre-shot routine, we're going to analyze in the post-shot routine to find out what caused our shot to either go well or to go poorly. Although we used a full swing example here, this can also be done in the short game and putting. And putting, it's probably going to be the easiest to implement for you. For putting, there's way less variables that we have to worry about. We have to look at the distance from our ball to the hole. We have to look at how the ball is breaking on the green, and we have to look at the speed that we're going to hit this putt. So if I'm going to be looking at a 10-foot uphill right to left putt, I pick my line. I know it's going to go uphill, so I need a little more speed. I'm going to kind of pick my starting line, and I'm going to pick my target of where I want the ball to end up. And this is going to be a very specific, very small target. So if I'm looking at a 10-foot putt and I'm looking at the hole, I might want the ball to roll directly into the center blade of grass, into the hole. What this is going to do is my aim point, the point I'm trying to hit, is going to be so small that even if I miss that center blade of grass, I might catch the right lip of the hole and it might break into the hole. This is really going to help us on the greens, that if we aim small and miss small, we have a better chance of still making that putt instead of saying, I'm going to hit this ball into the hole, and if we miss the hole, it's not going in. So with putting, along with that pre-shot routine, we're also going to have a post-shot routine. So we're going to analyze our read. Did we read the green correctly? Did the putt do what we thought it was going to do? Did we hit the ball too hard, too soft? Did we play too much break, too little break? Did we strike the ball on the center of the club face and with solid contact? Or did we maybe hit it off the toe, or maybe catch a little bit of the grass before we hit the ball? Everything we do in the pre-shot routine, we're going to analyze with the post-shot routine, and we're going to try to compare these and see how close we were from our pre-shot plan to the actual execution of the golf shot. Remember to practice with good intent and build those good habits now, and as always, let's play for par.